privilege today to welcome Mr. Roshan Kynadi. Uh, Roshan is an agripreneur trying to create an unconventional model of farming in Kennedy Plantation, trying to create multiple revenue streams that complement each other, like livestock farming, farm tourism, mechanization of farming, etc. He's also the co-founder and CEO of One Market, mobile app that was recently launched. One Market is a virtual recreation of a marketplace that we all connect to for all our needs. You can buy or sell products or properties, avail offer services, get or provide houses, vehicles, machinery, etc. for rent or hire, uh, get a job or get employees, and even matrimony. A super app that can make do many things. Roshan Kynadi is also the former president of Calicut Management Association from 2011 to 2012. It was during his term that CMA organized a leadership workshop for the ministers of Kerala in association with IIM Calicut. First time in the history of the country, on 18th August 2011, all the ministers under the Umanchandi Ministry of Kerala attended this leadership workshop. During his term, CMA also organized a series of talks called My Life, My Message by some of the successful and renowned personalities who had very humble beginning in life but went through on becoming exceptionally successful. Speakers were Shashi Tharoor, Krish Gopalakrishnan, PNC Menon, E. Sridharan, Kochause Chitlapalli, Professor PC Thomas, etc. Uh, the videos of these talks were uploaded on YouTube. These talks have excellent viewership on even now in YouTube. The objective of organizing these talks was to communicate to the youth of our state that they also can succeed in life irrespective of how they begin in their life. Uh, Added to this, in July 2014, presented to Kerala Chief Minister Sri Umanchandi a new road development model for Kerala called Skyway, a model by which land acquisition would not be opposed or resisted by landowners. An elevated road project from Kasaragod to Trivandrum. Chief Minister Sri Umanchandi wanted the project to be presented in the Cabinet of Ministers. Accordingly, the project was presented and in the Cabinet on 8th October 2014 by Roshan Kynadi. Roshan is a person who is passionate about promoting entrepreneurship among youngsters. He is a charter member of Try Kerala, which promotes entrepreneurship among the youth of our country. He's also marketing, mentoring a few startups on a voluntary basis. He's a regular columnist in various business magazines and a regular speaker on topics like entrepreneurship, strategy, disruption, innovation, exponential technologies, entrepreneurship, etc. Sir, it is my privilege and my pleasure to welcome you to deliver this speak to us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhijit. The topic that we will be covering today is opportunities in a dynamic and disruptive world. For us at Thai Kerala, we we have a collective dream, and that dream is to have an entrepreneur in every house. With that objective, we started something called Capital Cafe in Thai Kerala 3 years back. In fact, today's attendees, I think almost half would be uh, Thai Capital Cafe shortlistees, but the other half, I'm sure, would be from the outside. So for their information, I'm going to speak a few lines about Capital Cafe. Capital Cafe, as the name suggests, is a place where young entrepreneurs can come to raise capital, because we at Thai Kerala believe that capital is one of the biggest challenges faced by young entrepreneurs uh, all over the world. And we thought over time, Capital Cafe would become the one-stop solution for all aspiring entrepreneurs in Kerala. And with that objective, we joined forces with Kerala Startup Mission, um, NIT TBI, Calicut, NIT Calicut, their technology business incubator. Then Manuti Agricultural University, their agribusiness incubator, and TimeEd, which is an incubator focused on healthcare and medtech. So all these organizations came together to create Capital Cafe. And last 3 years, we had been organizing this. This year also, we received close to 400 applications from startups, and from that, we shortlisted about 30, uh, 30 startups. And after shortlisting, we had given them a fairly long uh, process of training, wherein we helped them, equip themselves in diverse areas, starting with how to make an effective pitch, to managing finance. All these areas, even minor areas, we covered during this process. And after that, we made them pitch in front of some of the leading investors of the country. And this year, we had close to 445 of the biggest names of the country as investors, starting with Indian Angel Network, Chennai Angel Network, Mumbai Angel Network, Ankur Capital. Almost all the big names were very much there. And this year also, we expect to see a sizable number getting funded. This is actually a continuous project, not a 1 year project or a 2 year project or a 3 year project. We have the same team that has been driving Capital Cafe right from the beginning. We are all working together to see that our dream eventually become a reality. So having said that, see, this session was basically one of the primary objective for us to organize this session was to help the the startups shortlisted, but those of them who have not got funded, to help them pivot. In fact, that is the primary objective with which we are organizing this session. Just to for the others to understand, in the year 2018, we shortlisted 20 startups. From that, only one got funded. In the year 2019, again we shortlisted 20 startups. From that, four of them got funded, and but the remaining have not got funded, and many of them are sort of stuck. So we thought it was our duty to handhold them, to help them get out of that state and come out stronger. See, one of the fundamental lessons in entrepreneurship is you don't fail. What you do is you pivot. Your current idea might or might not work, but even if it doesn't work, not that you admit defeat, but you pivot. And that is what we are trying to help these young entrepreneurs do here. So with that objective only, we are covering this topic. The topic is opportunities in a dynamic and disruptive world. So basically, my presentation will have three parts. The first part would be the scale of disruption happening around the world, what we are currently going through, what we have seen. And again, the second part would be trying to visualize how our lives will change in the days to come. And the third part are the opportunities. Now, let us try to find out the scale of disruption happening around the world. Just try to find out how many products mobile phone has disrupted. I'm sure easily products like a radio, a music player, a camera, um, many things would come to your mind, which used to be part of our life. Even timepiece, no, all these have sort of faded away from the market, and all that has been replaced by one single product, the mobile phone. And if you try to make a list, the list is today fairly long. Close to 25, 30 products have been disrupted or removed from the market by one single product, the mobile phone. Same way, it is not just these products. Even some industries also got wiped out along with the growth of mobile and the telecom industry. The I think all of us in Kerala would remember the days when we used to have so many travel agencies uh, in across the length and breadth of Kerala, because for us, for a long time, our livelihood was uh, was the NRI status, and traveling outside for us at Kerala was not a luxury, but a necessity. And for that reason, if you see around 15, 20 years back, there was a time when every fourth shop room in Kerala used to be a travel agency. Now, those travel agencies are not to be seen. Many of them got now they've got converted to some other business or just vanished. And we all know that place was taken over by platforms like Make My Trip or TripAdvisor and various other platforms which we all know. What happened to the hotel industry? There was a time when big hotel chains like Taj and Oberoi and Hyatt used to fight amongst themselves. But today, the fight is not amongst themselves. The fight is they have come together to fight their common enemy, Oyo Rooms and Airbnb. And these organizations have actually now become the enemies of the hotel industry. And that is the disruption that has happened in the hotel industry. Now, let us see what has happened in the retail industry. That I don't think I need to speak much, because thanks to COVID, all of us would have started using Amazon and Flipkart, whether we liked it or not. And even many among the older generation were forced to use Amazon and Flipkart. Now, many of us think that Amazon and Flipkart are limited to just mobile phones and televisions and all these electronic gadgets. No, that is not the case. Amazon India, in fact, this is a news report which came in August 2019. Amazon India launches Amazon Fresh store with 2-hour delivery. In fact, they are going into now, if you can see the products, Amazon Fresh lets customers place orders across sections of over 5,000 fruits, vegetables, dairy, meat, ice cream, and dry grocery like staples, packaged food, personal care, and home care. And they started operations in Bangalore in August 2019. And they give a 2-hour delivery schedule. Same with Flipkart plans fresh food, vegetable delivery. The Walmart owned organization has got into this in Hyderabad. So what I'm trying to say is these organizations are not limiting to electronic products or bigger products. No, they are getting into everything. Next is what happened to transportation. Thanks to Ola, thanks to Uber, all of us um, can get transportation if we are carrying our mobile phone. And again, the result that has already we are already started seeing the results. Most of the advanced countries, people have stopped buying the second car of the household. They'll have only one car. If the wife had a car, husband had a car, now one of them has decided to use Uber or Ola, so that they need only one vehicle in the household. So that is the change that we have started seeing in the transportation sector. And again, another big change, another thing which I think which we should notice is a general shift in thinking of entrepreneurs from local and linear to global and exponential. The best examples for these are organizations like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Uber, and Airbnb. Let us try to find out what Google has done. Google has actually uh, democratized, demonetized information. Today, whether you are the son of the richest man of the country or you are the son of a factory worker, both would be using Google for getting information. And information is given freely. Maybe one person is using a 1 lakh plus um, iPad. The other person might be using a 3,000 rupees smartphone. But the point is, information is you are getting information. We are getting information from the same source, and information is freely available. These organizations democratized technology and brought socialism to the people. What has Facebook done? I think all of us would have recently, in the last 1.5, 2 years, read a lot about the Me Too incident. Just imagine uh, 15 years or 20 years back, if a politician, a businessman, a media mogul, or a religious leader, if all these people could come together, they could suppress information. But today, thanks to Facebook, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, today, thanks to social media, information is freely available. And it reaches from one corner of the world to the other corner in minutes, not hours, which means today, nobody has got monopoly. Even if you are the biggest media mogul, you cannot control news, control media, control information. That is what Facebook has done. What has Amazon done? Amazon has sort of rationalized retail. See, there was a time when products were not available in rural parts of the world. Same way, there were times when the limited dealers, limited retailers in rural areas where they used to cheat customers, charging them a higher price. But thanks to Amazon, today, I think all of us, when we go to buy a mobile shop, we see this very often. A youngster walking into the shop, asking the price of a mobile phone. And after that, he takes out his mobile phone from his pocket, checks out the price on Amazon, and tells the shop salesman, this is the price on Amazon. What is the best price that you can give me? So, which means nobody, nobody can cheat a customer today. And that is what Amazon has done. Similarly, what has Airbnb done? Airbnb around the world has created a new set of entrepreneurs, homestay owners. That is what they have done. All these organizations democratized technology and brought socialism to the people. These organized packaged technology to benefit common man, thereby creating organizations with exponential growth and global scale. See, one common thing that we can all see in these entrepreneurs who have created these organizations is the change in their thinking. The change in their thinking from local and linear to global and exponential. Now let us try to visualize how our lives will change in the days to come. Let us start with agriculture. I'm a farmer myself, so I always speak about agriculture first. See, vertical farming is the practice of growing crops in vertically stacked layers using LED lights. It incorporates controlled environment agriculture, which aims to optimize plant growth and soilless farming techniques such as hydroponics, aquaponics, and aeroponics. And this is actually a vertical farm that you can see in the image, wherein you can see layers of now, leafy greens grown and with LED lights. Again, within vertical farming, basically there are three models which are followed by organizations around the world. In fact, the first vertical farm was created in Singapore close to 10 years back. And after that, all these developments have happened. And in vertical farming, basically there are three models which are followed. One is the hydroponics, second is aquaponics, and third is aeroponics. What is hydroponics? Hydroponic system is the system of growing crops without soil often called soilless farming. In the hydroponic system, the plant roots grow in a liquid nutrient solution. Liquid nutrient solution is a mixture of essential plant nutrients in the water, which means all the micronutrients which are required by the plant are supplied to the roots of the plant in liquid form, which means the whole thing doesn't need soil. And that is the fundamental principle of vertical farming. Soilless, liquid nutrient supplies. On top of that, LED lights. Again, the next model of farming, aquaponics. Aquaponics is a farming method that combines benefits of aquaculture and hydroponics. The water passes through a hydroponic plant growing section for filtration, then recirculated back to the fish tank for reuse. See, what you see in the image are tanks in which um, intensive fish farming is done. Intensive fish farming, not the conventional uh, low volume fish farming, but intensive fish farming. And what happens when you do intensive fish farming? Lot of waste is created by the fish. That waste is pulled out from the water on the lower side of the tank, and that is used to fertilize the 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 leafy greens which are grown there. Aquaponics is a farming method that combines the benefits of aquaculture and hydroponics. The water passes through hydroponics plant growing section for filtration, then recirculated back in the fish tank for reuse, which means the same water, the contaminated water which comes out of the fish tank, it would be it would pass through the roots of the plants, and once it passes through the roots of the plants, what will happen is the plant would get sufficient nutrient, and in the process cleaning the water, and the same water comes back to the fish tank purified. So this is the aquaponics model. Now, after this, a third model has come into being in the recent past. This is probably less than 3 years old. This is called aeroponics. Aeroponics is the process of growing plants in an air or misty environment without the use of soil. The basic principle of uh, aeroponic growing is to grow plants suspended in a closed or semi-closed environment by spraying the plant's dangling roots and lower stem with an atomized or sprayed nutrient-rich water solution. That is what you are seeing in the image. And again, some success stories in the vertical farming sector. See, the first company, one of the first companies that raised capital in this particular space was Plenty Incorporated. In fact, the first round of fund which they raised was around 4 years back, when all of a sudden they raised about 180 million US dollars. But more than that, what got noticed was the set of investors who put money into this. The investors were Amazon, SoftBank, and Alphabet. These three organizations came together to invest 180 million US dollars around 4 years back in this particular startup. This was actually started in 2014, August, and Plenty till date has raised about 541 million US dollars in funding over 6 rounds. And what Plenty Incorporated claimed was that they can grow in 1 acre what can be grown in 350 acres of conventional farming. That is what they claim. And but again, this is a company which is progressing very fast, because repeat investments can happen only if investors see progress happening in the process. Another company which has recently got noted is a company called Aero Farms. Aero Farms claims 390 times greater productivity per square foot annually, which means if Plenty is claiming 350 acres from 1 acre, these people are claiming 390 acres from 1 acre of space. And again, they also claim using 95% less water and zero pesticides. Aero farms use aeroponics to mix the roots with nutrients, water, and oxygen. So these are some of the success stories. And there are many other organizations which are slowly gaining traction, which have got funding, but maybe not to the scale. Aero Farms till now has raised close to 150 million USD. And again, something to do with agriculture. In fact, that is the reason why I have grouped this into this. This is a newspaper report which came about a month back. Singapore approves sale of lab-grown meat in a world first, December 2nd to 2020. Singapore has given US startup Eat Just the green light to sell its lab-grown chicken meat in what the firm says is the world's first regulatory approval. I think it is something which, especially those of us in the farming and agriculture, should take note of. Now, having gone through these slides, now let us try to imagine what would agriculture be in the days to come, and that too with vertical farming and lab-grown meat. Today, uh, if you see the vertical farming sector, the products which are produced so far are limited to a certain categories. They have successfully raised tomato, they have successfully raised leafy greens, but they have not been able to raise cereals. They have not been able to raise uh, other fruits and vegetables, not much of vegetables. But again, think about it. If they can raise, uh, grow meat in a lab, even fruits also might not be far off. And what we are going to see is in the days to come, most of the meat that we buy in a supermarket or an online platform, chances are it would be coming from a lab, not a farm, which means it is high time farmers like me start thinking about other possibilities also. So this is an eventuality which nobody can stop. In fact, the reason why I showed these slides at the topic agriculture in the beginning is basically to highlight upon each one of you that these changes are not confined to certain sectors. Almost across the spectrum, these changes are happening. Now we'll go into the other sectors and try to find out what is happening in other sectors also. So now let us try to visualize power and transportation sector, renewable energy. And again, what does renewable energy constitute? Wind energy, solar energy, even hydel power is today considered as renewable energy because next year rain, again you will get water, so which means it is a renewable. So, but again, there is a shift happening from all these hydel and costly things to wind and solar. And within that, if you see, the future power source of India, no doubt, is going to be solar. See, this is from a newspaper, in fact, from an interview which came in September 2016 with none other than Mukesh Ambani. In that interview, he said, in the energy business, we give 2% of the world's petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel. In fact, they hold 2% of the refining capacity of the world. That is the size and scale of Reliance Industries. Then listen to what he had said after that. I believe that renewable energy in the next 20 to 30 years will replace nearly all fossil fuel. Just imagine the guts this man would have had to speak this out. Think of the what the investors who have invested in Reliance Industries, what they would think. And in spite of that, he had the audacity to speak that out. But most of us who follow technology very closely believe that the timeline required for this transition is exactly half what he mentioned, which means in the next 10 to 15 years' time, this transition might happen. The transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy. Again, this is a newspaper report which came on 9th March 2019. Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund, world's biggest to dump oil and gas stock. In fact, Norwegian Wealth Fund is the world's largest sovereign fund. They manage more than 1,000 billion US dollars. In fact, in the director board meeting held in March 2019, they took a decision to stop investing in oil and gas. What would that entail? Would be now all the smaller investors in the investment spectrum would have taken note of this decision and would have stopped investing in oil and gas. And that is the reason why we are seeing a certain kind of glut in the Middle East sector. The kind of booming phase that the Middle East used to see is slowly but surely coming to an end. The money that you used to get pumped into the Middle East oil sector has ceased, stopped. So this is a very important news report. Now, uh, I think at least some of you would have read about this. What is this? Tesla solar roofing. Like the clay tiles that we are used to in Kerala, in US, the most US and Europe, the most popular form of roofing is roofing shingles. These are actually roofing shingles with solar panels inbuilt, which can generate power during the daytime. And again, this is also another product from Tesla called a Powerwall. Powerwall is a home battery that charges using electricity generated from solar panel. Powerwall offers independence from utility grid. Each Powerwall has a 6.4 kilowatt energy storage capacity, which means few years from now, most of us, at least in India, where we have plenty of sunlight, we would not need a power grid connection. We would not need a KSEB connection. Most of the households in Kerala wouldn't need an electricity board connection. But again, there are other organizations like malls, commercial buildings, which would definitely need power. They would definitely use it. But most of the household, the way I see it is if they have one or two power wall, they have two power wall, I believe they'll be able to run 4 or 5 air-conditioned rooms without any problem. And again, I have no doubt that most of us would have air conditioners in our rooms not very far off into the future. So all these changes are happening because today the biggest cost in using an air conditioner is not the initial cost. More than that, it is a monthly bill that we have to pay. But imagine a time when we don't have it to pay anything. Once we buy the power wall, once we buy the air conditioner, once we buy the solar panels, then we don't have to pay anything. So why not? So I'm sure most of us would start using this and stop using the services of Kerala State Electricity Board or any other electricity board or power supply facility around the world. Now, I think this is one person all of us aspiring entrepreneurs would definitely look up to and admire, Elon Musk. person who created Tesla, person who created SpaceX, person who created Hyperloop, Neuralink, and Starlink. Neuralink and Starlink are two organizations which many of you might not have heard of. I'll be speaking about that in my later slides. Again, this is a news report which came in April 2017. India eyes all-electric car fleet by 2030. Piyush Goyal, Power Minister Piyush Goyal, said while addressing the CII annual session 2017. We are going to introduce electric vehicles in a big way. We are going to make electric vehicles self-sufficient. The idea is that by 2030, not a single petrol or diesel car should be sold in the country. Probably immediately after that, there was a lot of hue and cry, particularly from the automobile industry. Government has gone a little silent on that, but behind they are working full speed. Let us see what they are doing. See, this is, and again, a news report which came out in June 2020. Adani Solar. Adani Green Energy wins world's largest solar bid worth 6 billion. Came as an Economic Times report. India awards $6 billion solar power contract to Adani Green Energy. India's state Renewable Energy Agency (SCCI) has awarded a $6 billion contract to domestic renewable company Adani Green Energy Limited to develop a total of 8 gigawatts of solar power projects over 5 years and set up solar cell and module manufacturing capacity totaling 2 gigawatts. In fact, the last part is actually of more interest to me because India is going to get into manufacture of solar panels also in a big way. Again, this is again a news report which came in the last 2 months. Solar power tariffs dropped to an all-time low. Record low tariff of rupees 2 per unit. Solar Energy Corporation of India (SECI) auction in November 2020 for 1070 megawatts of solar project in Rajasthan. This was the auction where the rate was fixed, the quote was fixed, the tender was fixed at this particular rate of 2 rupees. And again, just 1 month after that, in December 2020, the rate again fell. Gujarat Urja Vikas Nigam Limited auction for 500 megawatts of solar project held on December 20. The tariff grew, the tariff came down even more to a record low of 1 rupee 99 paise per unit. So just imagine the scale at which the cost reduction is happening in solar power generation. Now, I think all of us have read about driverless car, and many of us have a feeling that, okay, this is going to happen, but probably say 10 years from now, 15 years from now, nothing is going to happen immediately. Generally, that is the feeling that most of us carry when we think about driverless car. But again, that is not the case. See, it was in 2009 that Google started its driverless car project. And it was in May 2012 that the first driving license was issued by Nevada State in the US to Google. This is again a news report. Another news report which came in October 2015, and remember, we are now in 2020. Blind man sets out alone in a Google driverless car. Steve Mahan, who is legally blind, was the first non-Google employee to ride alone in the company's autonomous car. The ride was in October 2015 in Austin. If you go to YouTube, type Steve Mahan, blind man, you can see this. See this man enjoying the ride in a Google driverless car. Point is, This is October 2015. We are in 2020, which means so much has happened in between. And again, this is again a news report which came in December 2016. Google's self-driving car project is now Waymo, the future of Google's self-driving cars. That is the tagline. Waymo, the future of Google self-driving cars. So in December 2016, uh, Alphabet separated Google driverless car project as a separate entity and created Waymo. What is going to happen in the days to come? Again, Waymo has the second news report from October 2020. Waymo has launched a self-driving taxi service. Self-driving car company Waymo announced its autonomous vehicles are now available to the general public, paying customers. The service is only available in a limited area for now in Arizona. So again, a news report which came in October 2020. But again, these are some news reports which came in between. Jaguar Land Rover tie up with Waymo to develop self-driving car, March 2018. And again, June 2019, Waymo goes global with Renault-Nissan partnership. Again, in June 2020, Waymo announces a new partnership with Volvo for a new electric car, uh, intended to be for ride hailing. Then again in July 2020, Waymo and Fiat Chrysler team up to automate delivery trucks. Again in October 2020, Waymo and Daimler are teaming up to build fully driverless trucks. So what is happening? The same thing that happened in the mobile telecom industry. See, today we buy mobile phones. It could be Samsung, it could be OnePlus, it could be Vivo, it could be Oppo, anything. But they all manufacture the mobile phone. But who makes the software inside the mobile phone? It is Android from Google. So the same thing we are going to witness in the automobile industry very soon, which means we are going to see cars manufactured by many of these, no, in fact, around the world, most of the companies, in fact, through Jaguar Land Rover, I'm sure even Tatas are also going to have a tie-up with Google. And all these companies, all these old generation automobile manufacturers are going to continue manufacturing cars, which would have software supplied by Google with the name Waymo. That is what we are going to witness. But again, in the autonomous electric car space, there is a dark horse. And what is that? Who's that dark horse? Tesla. Tesla, without any of this, within a short time, this is again a news report which came in October 2020. Tesla's full self-driving beta is here. Tesla began pushing its full self-driving update to a select group of customers, which means while these people were researching, this man, Elon Musk, he created self-driving, full self-driving on its own. It is still in beta version, not 100% foolproof, but not very far off into the future, we are going to see that also becoming a reality. Now just imagine Uber plus electric driverless car. What are we going to see? We are going to see car as a service. See, till now, car was a product, car was never a service till now. And again, Many of us, when we were young, we all aspired to buy that Mercedes or a BMW or an Audi or a Maserati or a Ferrari or um, or a Lamborghini. But all that is going to change. Car is going to transform itself from a product to a service that would be available on our mobile phone. And again, because of that, what we are going to see is we are going to see lesser cars on the road, lesser cars on the road, because I already mentioned earlier that most of the developed countries, people have stopped buying the second car in the household. People have come to understand that they do not need cars. There are educated people around the world today who have, in fact, who have decided that I will not buy cars anymore, who don't own a car. They only use car as a service from Uber or Lyft or Ola, anything that is popular in that part of the world. So, and again, another thing that we are going to see is we are going to see lesser parking space required. Imagine Cochin MG Road. Both the sides of the road, at least one track is taken over always for parking by for parking. No, but with Uber or an Ola, we can get into the car, get down at the particular point that we want, and the car can move on, which means the car doesn't need parking. So, which means more of the parking area which used to be set aside on the roads are going to become roads in the days to come. More than all that, one of the biggest change these electric autonomous cars are going to bring in is the lower maintenance cost. Just imagine no radiator, no coolant, no gearbox, no engine oil. See, all these things are things which need periodic maintenance. Just imagine number of moving parts inside a gearbox. And when you have more moving parts, it also needs more maintenance. See, none of that is required. Lower maintenance cost. And again, see today, if you see, there are two types of manufacturers today in the world in the automobile space. People who uh, who are trying to build wheels onto a computer like Tesla. And again, the old set of manufacturers who are actually trying to build a computer into a car. Now, all the old generation car companies are actually trying to do that. But if you see organizations like Tesla, uh, they follow a totally different model. For them, their car is actually a computer. And what they do is actually add a set of wheels onto this computer. And if you see, by now itself, like every 2 weeks, Tesla gets periodic updates, software updates, like the updates that we get in our mobile phone, which means, see, all the new features which are incorporated into a new car gets automatically upgraded, updated into your old car. So that is the kind of automobile industry that we are going to witness not very far off into the future. And that future is not very far. We need to keep that in mind. No, we thought this is the ultimate. When the previous slide almost made us think that we have reached the ultimate in personal transportation. That is not the case. There are entrepreneurs who can think wild. This is a company which I follow very closely. This was a company which was formed in Bavaria, in Germany, in 2016 by some young entrepreneurs, very dynamic young entrepreneurs. They created the world's first electrical vertical takeoff and landing jet. And this is what you see, the Lilium jet. The range which they have claimed is 300 kilometers, and the speed they claim is 300 kilometers per hour, all electric, on demand, low noise. In fact, this company has already raised 3 rounds of funding, and what they claim is over time they are going to have a service similar to Uber around the world, not just in Germany or Europe or US. No, what they are planning is a global coverage. Again, seeing this becoming a reality, again, Google is never one to stay behind, and this is a company formed Kitty Hawk, next generation of vehicles for everyday flight, all electric, vertical takeoff and landing products for work and play. Kitty Hawk will bring autonomous flying taxis to New Zealand. The secretive company, financed by Google co-founder Larry Page, has finally broken cover. This is actually a news report which came in March 2018. They've being the name associated with uh, Google helped them strike a deal with the government of New Zealand. What is particular about New Zealand? New Zealand is actually a group of small islands, and to travel from one island to the next, they didn't have roads. Only option was through sea or by air, and so they got into a tie-up. And again, New Zealand is one company which is always receptive to new technology and new ideas. Because of that, they have already signed a deal. So not very far off into the future, this service would be, they've already started working on that, this company. So this would be available as a regular service across New Zealand very soon. And again, Japan's roadmap to flying cars. In fact, this is also some news reports which came in. First one was in August 2019. See, Japan for the first time, again, thanks to Tesla, around 2019, for the first time, the Japanese industry, Japanese government and the Japanese industry came to a realization that they are in for a losing game, a game where they are bound to lose. Because till now, over the last 30 years, Japan has always dominated the automobile industry. But all of a sudden, Tesla could overtake Japan in electric cars, autonomous cars, and not only Tesla, Google could overtake Japan with their Waymo. So all this brought a certain kind of realization that Japan is going to lose this game. And again, see the proactive nature of the government there. Again, I'll go to just read the news report. In a move to get airborne vehicles off the ground in Japan, the government in August 2019 established the Public-Private Conference for Future Air Mobility. The group is made up of 2 government agencies, several universities, and 22 private companies and institutes, including NEC, Japan Airlines, Subaru, Uber Japan, and Boeing Japan. Again, on 20th December, the partners published a roadmap that outlines the technological development and establishment of regulations required to make flying cars a reality. The roadmap lays out an ambitious timeline with test flights targeted to start this year and commercialization to begin in 2023. Again, from CES 2020. I think last week we all read about and the CES 2021, but 2020 CES means Consumer Electronics Show. I'll just go through the report. Hyundai will make flying cars for Uber air taxi service. This is a news report which came in January 2020. The full-scale prototype is now on display at CES 2020. Hyundai will mass produce these electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Hyundai will also deploy them for Uber's promised air taxi network. The image on top is actually the hub, which was also designed by uh, uh, time day. And again, um, you can see the aircraft on the lower in the lower image. uh, uh, the flying aircraft can be seen, and again the facilities that they have created for an aircraft to come and land. And again, the pods which you can see in the bottom, which can take customers to different places from that center. So much is happening in this particular space. Again, something to do with Uber aerial ride sharing. Uber is building the future of aerial ride sharing. In 2023, Uber plans to give riders the option of an affordable shared flight. Uber is working towards giving riders the option to take shared electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft effortlessly, riding between conveniently located skyports. A network of distributed skyports are being planned to enable Uber Air operations. What they have already started doing is in major cities like New York, most of the building rooftops, they have already started signing up for these operations. Now, just see this. See, these are some of the EV which were designed and created, and there are many companies in this space, but these are some of the names, the leading names in this particular space. In addition to what I've mentioned earlier, SkyDrive is the one designed by the Japanese association, the one on the left top. Then a Volocopter, that is also a fairly successful venture. Then Joby Aviation. Joby Aviation has already raised 3 or 4 rounds of funding, major funding, and Airbus. All these names, both old and new, have entered into this space, seeing the prospects and the scope of this particular space. And again, above all that, I think all of us would have read, now being something to do with Elon Musk, all of us would have read at one point or the other about Hyperloop. But let us see some figures and facts. Elon Musk's 1,200 kilometer per hour Hyperloop. The Hyperloop is essentially a futuristic train. It combines magnetic levitation train and a low pressure transit tube. That is what is Hyperloop. And again, just see the speed comparison on the left side, left lower side. Uh, the speed of Hyperloop is 760 miles per hour. When you can convert that into kilometers, it is 1,200 kilometers per hour. But see, in comparison, just see the speed of an aircraft. It is only 500 miles per hour, 760, 500. And what is the speed of a bullet train? 200 miles per hour, 320 kilometers. Again, what is the speed of a car, which you can comfortably travel at on a good road, not the kind of roads that we have here, but on a good road, it can travel at 80 miles per hour. So just see the comparison. So probably 10 years from now, 15 years from now, for us to travel from Kerala to Delhi, we might opt for a Hyperloop. And again, we might also see another transition. See, today, we all know Kochi as a congested place. But imagine many of the people in Kochi living in Munnar, and every day, even every day morning, taking a eVTOL aircraft to fly from Munnar to Cochin to their office. Why do they have to live in a congested city when the travel time could be less than half an hour? So these are the kind of changes which we might see not very far off into the future. Now, let us try to visualize the retail industry. Domino's delivers pizza by drone in New Zealand. I mentioned earlier that New Zealand is always considered as a tech-savvy government, which is always open to technology and experimentation. So something which happened in August 2016. What is particular about Domino's? Domino's place an order in half an hour. If they are not able to deliver the what you ordered, the the, the the supply is free. You don't have to pay the bill. So which means they have they wanted to make it doubly sure that the material arrive on time. And what better way than a drone? Unlike a delivery boy who might get into an accident, or he might get a call from his girlfriend, or he might stop his vehicle to meet someone on the way, all that can be avoided with a drone. So drone became the safest option in New Zealand for Domino's. Now, again, another news report which came in October 2019, Google completes first drone delivery in the US. Alphabet subsidiary Wing has become the first company in the United States to deliver packages by drone. In Christiansburg, the small Virginia town chosen as Wing's test location, the 22,000 residents can order products normally shipped by FedEx, medicine from Walgreens, and a selection of candy from a local business, all of which will arrive via drone. This is actually a trial study, but it has already started happening in October 2019, and not very far off into the future, I have no doubt Google is to start offering the service around the world. Now, knowing Google, they don't do anything on a smaller scale. Again, this is a news report which came in October 2016. Uber Auto self-driving truck packed with Budweiser beer makes the world's first commercial delivery in Colorado. This is a news report, old news report. Again, another news report from September 2016, Mercedes-Benz vision, the future of logistics and last mile drone delivery. It's intelligent, interconnected, electric, and uses it is intelligent, interconnected, electric, and uses drones for delivery, making use of present day and future technological opportunities presented by digitalization, automation, and robotics. For example, if a parcel service provider stops his vehicle in a residential area, it will be possible to deliver multiple packages to nearby consignees autonomously by air in addition to manual delivery. See, in Kozhikode, I stay in a place called Ernipalam. I live in a villa project by Skyline, which is almost a kilometer inside. At Ernipalam, we have the highway. So what would happen in some time into the future is when I order something on Amazon or Flipkart, this particular vehicle would come to Ernipalam and park the vehicle there, and the drone on top of the vehicle would take out or pick out my parcel and bring it to me to my house. So that is what we are going to witness not very far off into the future. Again, this is again a news report which came in October 2020. Amazon unveils its new electric delivery van built by Rivian. Rivian is actually a startup funded by Amazon. The vehicle built by EV startup Rivian will come with state-of-art technology like sensing equipment and an advanced driver assist system. The e-commerce giant says it expects to have 10,000 vans on the road making deliveries as early as 2022, with a total fleet of 1 lakh vehicles expected by 2030. Amazon's new electric vans start hitting the roads in 2021. So again a news report. And this is again a news report from August 2019. Amazon's autonomous robot has started delivering packages in California. See that small vehicle? It would come uh, now come in front of your house. Probably you will get an intimation on your mobile. You can go out with your phone to the vehicle, park there, small vehicle. The lid will open. You can take out your parcel. So Imagine all this happening, all without the help of an individual or a worker. Now just imagine Amazon plus self-driving trucks plus robots plus robots plus drones. So what would happen when all these things come together? Amazon plus self-driving trucks plus robots plus drones. Imagine what would happen when all these things come together. See, I still remember reading an interview with Jeff Bezos some time back, the day when he became the richest man of the world, now surpassing uh, Bill Gates. Uh, all of a sudden, I think close to 1.5 years back, Jeff Bezos became the richest man in the world. And that particular day, um, Time magazine got an interview from him with him. And towards the end of the interview, the interviewer, a lady, asked Jeff Bezos, "What is it?" See, in fact, the question was this: See, you started in a small garage, in a small way in 1997, and today you have become the richest man in the world. And I'm sure there would be many dreams that you would still like to achieve. Can you talk about one such dream which you have still not been able to achieve, but you still aspire to achieve? Then it seems Jeff Bezos held his hand like this and said, 5 minute delivery. 5 minute delivery. That is what he dreams of. Every time one of us place an order with Amazon, he wants to see delivery happening in 5 minutes. Just imagine what that would create to the retail industry that we see in Kerala and around the world. Just imagine. Okay, now let us try to visualize the the healthcare industry. What is happening in the healthcare industry? See, where did all the research in in healthcare industry um, start? It all started with the smartwatch. In fact, many of us believe that the first smartwatch was created by Apple. No, it was not built by Apple. It was built by a company called Fitbit. And for the first time, the health professionals understood that so much of information can be amassed from a person's body just with a smartwatch. And smartwatch could pass on so much of information. It could give you the number of steps that you have taken in a day, the number of hours that you have slept well, the heart, your heart rate, your BP. See, so much of information you could get from one single product, the smartwatch. But again, that made many technology professionals think about the opportunities and the possibilities this was opening up. And again, anything like that, Google is one player which is always there ahead of time. Google really, in fact, um, again, a newspaper report from December 2015, uh, which said, in fact, Google Life Science was formed, that particular division was formed in 2012. And it was in December 2015
This
that
came back from Wikipedia.
okay. Um, okay. See, this is the newspaper report which came in December 2015. Google Life Science was renamed Greeley. And again, another news report from January 2019, Virili Life Science raises 1 billion in funding. See, people like us who follow technology uh, very closely, not just technology, the things happening around the world in in, in exponential technologies and no, um, big business. What we normally do is we follow big investments happening around the world. And that is one sure shot way. Any of you attending the session, if you just follow that, you will be able to predict without much difficulty what is going to happen in the days to come. So we are, in fact, most of us at TI, we follow these investments happening very closely. And Really Life Science raised 1 billion US dollar in January 2019. Again, uh, Google has, again, a news report from October 2019. Google has demonstrated the ability to compute in seconds what would have taken the largest and the most advanced supercomputer thousands of years, achieving a milestone known as quantum supremacy. But now, after Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they've all they are all mastered quantum computing at different scales, but Google was the first to master quantum computing. And again, the possibilities of quantum computing are phenomenal. Another news report which came from November 2019, Google buys Fitbit for 2.1 billion US dollar. You would remember Fitbit was the first company to build a smartwatch. Another news report, Google has confirmed it's collecting health data on millions of Americans through a new partnership with Essential. This is from November 2019. Again, in August 2020, Virili Life Science is getting into insurance. Virili is launching a new subsidiary called Coefficient Insurance Company, which will be backed by Swiss Re Group. I just imagine the things which this particular company Google is doing. Google really, formerly Google Life Science, Alphabet incorporates research organization devoted to the study of life science. So you can see, if you follow these things, you can see some patterns evolving. Now, the next major player, which all of a sudden came into healthcare space, none other than Amazon. Amazon moves into healthcare at 2018 timeline. Probably all of a sudden, in the beginning of 2018, Amazon realized that this is something which we should not uh, lose out. That probably with that objective, in January 2019, we'll just go through the news reports which came out in connection with that. Amazon announces it will collaborate with Berkshire Hathaway by Warren Buffett and JP Morgan to launch a company aimed at cutting healthcare cost. See, for your information, Berkshire Hathaway is the biggest insurance underwriters in the world, promoted by none other than Warren Buffett, who has always been one of the richest people in the world. And again, JP Morgan was one of the best and the most successful management consultants around the world. So all these people have a reason to come together. Let us try to find out. Again, in May 2018, CNBC reports that Amazon has built a team within its Alexa division to explore ways of making the device, which is powered by artificial intelligence, more useful in healthcare. Again, uh, another news report which came in June 2018, Amazon enters into an agreement to acquire online pharmacy startup PillPack for about 1 billion. PillPack is a full-service pharmacy that manages prescription medication for its customers by packing, organizing, and delivering medication. 28 June 2018. Another news report which came in October 2018, Amazon filed a patent for its virtual voice assistant Alexa, which aims to detect when a user is sick. The device would then help sell users medication. Just see what is happening. Another news report which came in October 2018, Amazon, through a partnership with health brand consultancy Arcadia Group, will sell an exclusive new brand of consumer-focused medical devices, including blood pressure cuffs, glucose monitors, glucose monitors. Arcadia Group said it has created a brand of at-home medical devices for Amazon called Choice. This is from October 2018. And again, in November 2020, Amazon expands into healthcare with online pharmacy. See, Amazon is slowly but surely moving into healthcare space. Not only Amazon, Google is also moving into healthcare space. Probably towards the end, I'll try to narrate their plan. But now let us try to see some other companies which are in this space. And again, if you see both Amazon and Amazon and Google, they are already in our homes through the Google Home and Alexa. Technology has already reached our homes. We have already got connected homes. So now it is only a matter of time they connect the human beings also inside the house. This is one company which I have been following very closely for the last so many years. Human Longevity Incorporated. In fact, they have a tagline, and the tagline says, "To make 100 the new 60." Got it? Have you understood? To make 100 the new 60. Their tagline, what they claim, what they visualize is a day when all of us around the world will have the kind of health that we have when we are at age 60, at 100 years age. What they are actually trying to do is they are trying to extend the productive age of mankind by 40 more years. The same health that each one of us have at age 60, they want to extend it to age 100. Human Longevity is a San Diego-based venture launched in 2013. Its goal is to build the world's most comprehensive database on human genotypes and phenotypes and subject it to machine learning so that it can help develop new ways to fight diseases associated with aging. Human Longevity is revolutionizing human health by generating more data and deeper understanding into what can keep you living healthier longer. HLI's scientists have created the world's largest database of sequenced genomes and phenotypic data to cover unprecedented insights capable of transforming healthcare from reactive to proactive. Imagine having information on the possible health issues a patient can have during his lifetime. Believe me when I say that few years from now, when a child is born in our family, we'll get a full genome sequencing done. And with that done, now this organization, what they aspire to do is few years from now, when they do a genome sequencing of a child, they'll give you a report which says, which will give clear indication on 4, 5, or 6 diseases the child would have during his lifetime. Just imagine. If see today, especially with the emergence of telecom in the IT industry, all of a sudden in the last 5 years, colon cancer has gone up. All of a sudden. And imagine if one of us were to get a report saying that we are prone to colon cancer. And every time we go to our family doctor with this report, which says that this man is prone to colon cancer during the lifetime. So, what would the family doctor say? I'm sure he would ask you to take more raw salads and green leaves, leafy greens. That way, it will help you with your digestion, and it will help you avoid constipation, and it will also help you to overcome or avoid colon cancer. It could be anything. Like if a person is prone to high BP, probably from a younger days, this person can reduce his sodium intake, salt intake. So all these are possible if we know the few diseases that our body is prone to. So that is what this particular organization is trying to do. And again, another organization, there are some similarity in the promoters of these two organizations. Cellularity, the next evolution in cellular medicine, harnessing the power of placenta. In fact, this particular organization does research on effective use of placenta. Cellularity's unique technology realizes the full promise of cell therapies by harnessing the immunomodularity, modulary, and regenerative properties of postpartum placenta. In fact, the placenta, which is normally thrown out after delivery, has got so much which can be preserved and used at a later stage in life. So this particular organization does a lot of research into that. What they say is that the cells in the placenta has the ability to convert into any part of the body. That is one peculiar state at which the cells in the placenta are in. It can become your brain, it can become your kidney, it can become your muscles. So if you can store those placenta, that can be used at a later date when you have cancer or when you have anything. It could be your brain degeneration, anything. Or in all these cases, these cells can be reused. So that is the space which this particular organization is focusing on. Again, and the news report which came in April 2019, I think listening to me or listening to my presentation, one thing you would have noticed is that, see, my entire presentation is all reports which I have collected over the years in technology space. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to create a pattern from these newspaper reports. So this is a report from April 2019. Scientists print 3D heart using patients' tissues. Although 3D printing has advanced in leaps and bounds over the past few years, using it to print a functioning human organ is still a far-flung dream. Recently, however, scientists have brought this dream one step closer. To demonstrate the potential of this technique, scientists created a small but anatomically precise heart, complete with blood vessels and cells. At this stage, our 3D printed heart is small and only the size of a rabbit's heart. Professor DeVere, but large human hearts also require the same technology. It is worth noting that this technology is still very far from being able to replace heart transplants. This is just another step along the path, but a rather large step. Maybe in 10 years, there will be organ printers in the finest hospitals around the world, and these procedures will be conducted routinely. What are we saying? So, even body parts. Possibility is that imagine one of us having a defective kidney. So, what could be done is one good cell could be removed from the other kidney, and a totally new 3D printed kidney could be created. Imagine that. And that could be transplanted back into our body. Just imagine that. So those are the possibilities that we are currently looking at. Another company which I follow very closely is a company called Calico. Calico LLC is an American research and development biotech company founded in 2030 by Bill Maris and backed by Google with the goal of combating aging and associated disease. Google's founder Larry Page describes Calico as a company focused on health, well-being, and longevity. So today, for the first time, for your information, world has started looking at death as a curable disease. And this is one company in that particular space. A little difficult to believe, but it is not just one company. There are other companies also. Human Longevity Incorporated, which I mentioned earlier. Many of these companies today look at death as a curable disease. And again, probably one unexpected contributed contribution which came into the space all of a sudden unexpectedly is from this company by none other than Elon Musk, Neuralink. Neuralink is developing ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interface to connect humans and computers. More specifically, it would be a chip and a bunch of tiny wires that's implanted surgically into your skull. Elon Musk, this is from August 2020, 29th August 2020. Elon Musk unveils pig with chip in its brain. On the right hand lower side, you can see two images, one on the left with Elon Musk and a particular machine that is actually the robot which can implant the neural link into your brain. You have to sit in front of that machine and your head would go into that slot you can see in the front, and without human intervention that machine would implant the neural link which you can see in the other image which is being held in the hand, a small thing, and that is the neural link. And on the left you can see the machine that would do the implant. And again, if you see uh, if you see or if you are one person who follow the life of Elon Musk, many of the crazy things that he spoke out in the initial years, he has made them into reality. And again, in 2013, when his company Tesla came out with the first roadster, the car, the entire world ridiculed him. The Mughals, the emperors in the automobile space ridiculed him, laughed at him, and nobody took him seriously. But 2018, with launching Model 3, the entire world took notice of him, and the entire world understood that the future of the automobile industry is electric. So this man, every time he speaks out something that is audacious, that is wild, that is a little crazy, today nobody laughs. They take note. Again, another company by Elon Musk. I mentioned in one of the during one of my initial slides that I'll speak about Neuralink and Starlink. This is about Starlink. And what is Starlink? Starlink is a high-speed internet access across the globe. Again, by Elon Musk himself. Starlink is a satellite constellation to provide satellite internet access with performance that far surpass that of traditional satellite internet and a global network unbounded by ground infrastructure limitations. Starlink will deliver high-speed broadband internet to locations where access has been unreliable, expensive, or completely unavailable. The constellation will consist of thousands of mass-produced small satellites in low Earth orbit, working in combination with ground transceivers. In total, nearly 12,000 satellites are planned to be deployed, with a possible later extension of 42,000. Starlink is targeting services in northern US and Canada in 2020, rapidly expanding to near global coverage of the population worldwide by 2021. Again, for your information, as claimed, December 2020, the services started in Canada and US. In fact, if you go to um, YouTube, type Starlink reviews, you can see many reviews. Probably they have not still started giving it out to public as a service. They've already started registration. They've already started giving it to technology specialists to conduct reviews. And if you just type Starlink reviews in YouTube, you can see reviews of some of the very successful tech experts in this space, and they've all reviewed it very positively. The thing have already started. Low orbit satellites have already started. Even yesterday, day before, they have launched another set. Yesterday or day before, I think day before yesterday, they've launched another set. They are launching it in a set of uh, 60 satellites in one go. And I think from 2021 onwards, like every week or so, they are launching, like every day they are able to launch two sets, like parallelly, 60 plus 60, 120 satellites, low orbit satellites. So everything is going as per his plan, none other than Elon Musk. So what they are going to do is they are going to have global coverage. And again, one of the, in fact, their officials have already come to India to apply to the government for permissions to start operations in India. And again, there is one more company in this space called OneWeb, in which the CEO of the company is none other than Sunil Mittal, Airtel. So he is the executive CEO. He is the executive director and CEO of the company, OneWeb. They are going to start operations in India starting 2021. And I'm sure this Starlink also would be there, very much there. All these companies have already started uh, their discussions with DOT. In fact, I've read news reports about these discussions. So what I'm trying to say is not very far off into the future, we might have both the Starlink and the Neuralink together. And what is it going to do? I see a future where we might not need this mobile phone that we carry with us all the while. Imagine having our brains directly connected to the net. So that is what together what Elon Musk is going to do is that. And again, imagine few years from now, a small group of us from Thai Kerala, if we are imagine we are going to Germany, uh, maybe on vacation or business, whatever it is. So what we could do is probably a week before that, we could download a software that would help us translate our talk. And imagine going to Germany and speaking to a local person there as if we are in Kerala. Now, that person would understand in German. We would understand in Malayalam or in English, whatever we want. And the entire process of translation is happening in the cloud in the neural link, in the Starlink. So that is the kind of world that we are looking at. And what would this do to the healthcare industry when all these things come together? Some technologies of the future in healthcare that will change sick care to preventive care. Today, the world we are in, it should not be called healthcare. It is actually sick care. Imagine one of us getting infected either with dengue or, or COVID or even cancer. See, we would not come to know about it till it actually manifests in our body. And that is the time when we go for sick care to the hospitals nearby. But that is going to change. The entire healthcare industry is going to change from sick care to preventive care. And how is that going to happen? Both these companies, Amazon and Google, they are both creating sensors. And that is the reason why Google has bought out Fitbit, and same way Amazon also has bought out another company which makes sensors. And these companies are going to create external and implantable sensors. And again, you might have noticed the deal that Amazon has got into with Berkshire Hathaway and JP Morgan. These companies are going to create nanobots coated with human molecules and AI. Probably few years from now, Amazon and Google are going to say, and both of them have got into insurance space also. If you go through the news report, which I read through or mentioned in the slides, you would see that both of them have tied up with insurance companies also. And both these companies are creating sensors, external and implantable, some of them nanobots. What are peculiar about nanobots? Nanobots are nano robots with specific task given to them, and most of them AI enabled. What is the size of a nanobot? A nanobot is actually, imagine the size of a nanobot. Nanobot is actually thinner than a strand of hair. So you can imagine how small it is going to be and how easy it is going to be to implant it inside your body. Probably Amazon and Google would say, we'll give you healthcare insurance at one fourth the cost of what it is today on the condition that you agree to implant these sensors. Sensors, both external and implantable. If you agree to that, they might they will give you insurance at probably one fourth the cost. And what would they do in the process? They would move from sick care to preventive care. The moment cancer or, or COVID or dengue gets infected into your body, immediately the sensor would give them an indication, and the sensor would send data to the cloud, which they would be controlling. And from there, now, um, quantum computer, a medical recommendation would come back to us, probably a set of medicines that we should take, or or a procedure that we should undergo, which means the entire process of healthcare will move from sick care to preventive care. The moment our body gets infected, immediately that is noticed by these sensors, and these sensors would send a communication to the supercomputer or the quantum computer sitting in the cloud, and the data would be collated. Data would, it wouldn't be from one particular doctor, because today supercomputers today have in fact fed all the recorded data available in the world into the supercomputer, and that is being compared with what happens in our body, and a medical recommendation is given to us, which is probably, which we can all be assured would be the best available in the world at a fraction of a cost. And that is what we are going to see. We are also going to see 5G and robotic surgery. If the supercomputer or quantum computer gives you a recommendation for a procedure, it would not be done by a human. Chances are it would be done by a robot with using 5G. And again, next big thing is biotechnology and synthetic biology. See, I mentioned about uh, 3D printing a kidney or a heart. So all that is from by synthetic biology and biotechnology. And again, then comes gene editing and genetic engineering. If the way things progress, the no, progress the way things are happening now, chances are 50 years, 60 years from now, we are going to see the emergence of superhumans, because we would create children who will have superhuman capabilities. With CRISPR gene editing, it is today possible to edit the genes of a person or an individual. So all that is going to become a reality. And again, with Neuralink and Starlink becoming a reality, we are even otherwise connected. So that is the kind of world that we are going to see.